You aren't lazy, nor lack motivation. You aren't useless either. You just don't know where to go in life according to who you are. But if you don't know who you are, how can you know where to go? In this video, I'm here to help you with that. And I won't tell you crap. I won't say you need to travel to discover yourself or sell you some course. I'm not that kind of person to myself, so I won't be that to you either. I'll be worse than that. I'll tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. And one of the examples of this is that if you are watching this, you aren't happy with your life. You don't feel like you are where you should be. You feel like you aren't enough. And that comes from how you led your life until now. The years go by and you see other people grow while you stay the same, doing the same, and never really changing. Because you do not know who you are. Slowly giving into the dark side, the weak side, making excuses to why you aren't better, saying it's everybody else's fault. The conditions weren't right, no one helped you, or you don't have money, because it's so damn convenient to give in, to not have to admit fault, to not have to face yourself. But the doors keep closing more and more with you feeling more and more hopeless, because you close them yourself. You see, if you have no part in how things go, if it's not your fault, you do not have the power to change them either. You don't have a way to make your dreams happen. If you are going to be right, try to be right on the things that improve your life and not on the ones that massage your ego, because you are still in the same place. So what's the point of being right in that? So yeah, for you to figure yourself out, you need to be able to face yourself now, in this moment, and admit that it was a mistake to leave this aside for so long. I'm not pointing out your weaknesses, but rather the opposite, where really lies the power to change your life. And that is in your choices. How well they are planned, how many times you repeat those kind of choices, and what story you want to tell. That builds the mental space you live in, and it shapes the way you make choices. One exercise that helps me a lot is imagine you are raising a child and you are inconsistent with the child's environment. One day you wake the child up at 5 in the morning and are like David Goggins, and in the next day you just give them a hamburger and leave them watching videos all day, and then criticize them for eating fast food and wasting time. And then you stop showing up for a week, but you tell them you love them every single day, and you keep being this random all the time. What do you think happens to that child? How do your choices impact their behavior? Maybe it leaves them feeling constant anxiety of what's going to happen, trying to be ready for everything because the environment isn't consistent, leaving them in survival mode, unable to think further than a week into their lives, prioritizing relationships that bring benefits rather than the ones that last longer, feeling lost and powerless. Now imagine that child is you. So you agree that it becomes an essential thing to have stability, predictability, safety in your life, and that becomes reality through your actions and not words, and allows you to think further into the future, helping you arrive at the life you want, right? That's why YOLO is such bad advice. If your life is crappy already, that just buries you deeper. Before anything, you need stable ground to jump higher. With no consistency, there's also no identity. There isn't much that proves that you are present in your life without being consistent. If it's just occasionally, then it's just a reaction, not a conscious choice. And this comes from how you deal with your life, your feelings. And this isn't completely your fault. The world nowadays is too convenient at helping you not face yourself. With things like social media, reels, addictions, shows, news, dating apps, you are not forced to stare at yourself in the mirror anymore. Boredom is a luxury nowadays. But if you are always running from the uncomfortable feelings you have, and we already talked about what happens in reality back there, but what do you think happens in your mental space? Who is the person you are left with? And how does that make you feel to have that kind of person being the one who's in control of your life? It's not just about making the right choices, but also how you make them. The kind of person you want to become brings with them a specific kind of life. And if you choose wisely, that's how you get the life you want. You can't just copy the habits, you have to understand them. That's why you feel so lost and sad right now. Because if you never face your feelings properly, that influences the choices you made, and that led you to where you are right now. A person who feels like it was left behind. And this leads us into the next question, which is how do we change who we have been for so long? Hi, I hope this video is helping you. If you don't understand something, please comment down below and I will answer. Like and subscribe because it helps me. And if you don't want to spend time watching my videos, go take a look at my ebook. The link is in the description. Now back to the video. So the first step is to define what isn't you. We already established that consistency equals identity. So what comes from the environments, like the pressure to make money, to have a family, to fit in, those doesn't define you because they don't come from within you. They are dropped on you. That's why you feel so inadequate, because you don't relate to those values personally. So they aren't consistent. Because if you change your environment, you change your attitude too. So they aren't what defines you. Also, behaviors that you have with some people are not you too. If someone makes you more mad or be more nicer, it's not you but them. And the last one defies this concept, but it's the only exception, which is you have a set of consistent behaviors that aren't you, and those are the ones who come from your parents and childhood. They are consistent because it's the first example you had, but that doesn't mean you agree with them. They might not relate to you as an individual. You just have been doing them for so long that it becomes a reflex. Video in the description if you want to solve that. But this leaves us with your choices, your desires, your values. That is what defines you if applied consistently, because they come from within you and influence the environment around. And this is something you practice. The more you differentiate it and apply it, the more you will see yourself around you, and the easier it will be for you to know where you should go. Want the people around you to have more money, be mental stable, and be loyal? Then fix yourself on the inside, and it will transform your life. People only want the ones who are like them. And we can move on to the next phase, which is what do you want? I have these 3 questions that help me shape my goals. What are the things you absolutely do not want in your life, like an abusive partner, a job you hate, to be working at 70, etc. Another question is, what are the things I'm willing to invest in for the rest of my life? Pick an area of expertise. And the last one is, if I'm at the end of my life, what are the things I would 100% have regretted not having or doing? What are the must-haves and non-questionables of my life? And then you gather them and you see them clash with each other. Like, for example, I want to be rich, but I don't want to work 80 hours a week. I want to be in an honest relationship, but I don't want to deal with anything that's uncomfortable. Or I don't want to make an effort to stay attractive, but I also don't want to be cheated on. And this unsolved mess is the cause to why your life is the way it is. You are still back there, refusing to decide, but not choosing. It's also a choice. But what helped me navigate through all of this are values, principles. I didn't know this for many years. I thought they were just a hassle. Values help you find your path and not make it more difficult. And that is what kind of person you want to be for others. If others had one thing to say about you, what would it be? If you had a kid, what would be the best version of you for that kid? And this helps you prioritize things. If you want others to feel safe with you, you're gonna have to protect them. If you don't want to be alone, you have to bring benefits to others. If you want an honest relationship, you have to be able to face the truth by yourself. And this helps you build your ideal life, not just the material stuff, but people too. Because again, values aren't useless, they protect you. Values help you define what kind of people you want in your life. The biggest cause of sudden poverty is divorce and bad friends. But if you try to make truth, kindness, loyalty, something consistent in your life, no matter the cost, you just have to expel anyone who doesn't do the same. Because it's hard to give values. The world tests you on that, and not everyone has them. Take your time connecting to the values you believe before entering the next chapter. Which is acceptance. You may say yes, but that doesn't mean it's true. Yet. And this is a hidden step in the process for anything: happiness, goals, relationships, work, and especially figuring out who you are. The faster you accept things as they are, the faster you get the power to change that. Otherwise, it's just you being delusional, turning your head away from the truth, powerless. And that is the majority of humanity. They aren't weak or stupid or incapable, they just refuse to accept the truth as it is. And for you to avoid this, you have to accept three things. First one is accept yourself. There are things you can't change within you. They will be an eternal problem in your life. So you will have to learn to deal with it because it's you. To be someone means you will have to go against somebody someday, and it won't be profitable either. You have to accept that. Being an individual comes with the cost and responsibilities. Learn to have your own back, to accept yourself as you are and all that comes with it, without the criticism that demands the lashing out. Just accept yourself for who you are, and in this case, accept that your depression is part of you and you have to deal with this. Period. The second is accept your limits. We lie about this the most because it's difficult for us humans to accept this. It bruises our ego, it leaves us hopeless, it kills us on the inside. And that is, you won't have everything your way in this life. Some things you won't get, and some things you can't change. Never. No matter how fast, strong, and smart you are. Things like someone leaving, losing, death. You won't be able to do a thing about it, and learning to accept that is part of life. The faster you do this, the less painful it will be. But still, this is something that it always sucks. There's no pill or the right words or actions that can help you jump this. But the one thing that I learned that helps the most with this is learn to be grateful. For the moments, even if they ended in pain, doesn't mean they were worthless. And the same for our effort. Sometimes, yes, it will be useless. Doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Because it's about who we show to others, to ourselves. As limited as we are, that's as meaning. And the third one is accept your happiness. It's one of the reasons why I wear this bangle, you know? Only way to take it off is by bending it. It doesn't come off easy. And it symbolizes a promise I made to myself that I will fight for my happiness, always. No matter how tired, how sick of it, I stand up. And that is what it means to accept the price for it. Be it to be alone for who knows how long, or to disappoint your family and friends, or having to devote all your time to building your dreams. And I know it's scary, it's painful, but it's what you need to do because it's your happiness. That is why most people are stuck in life. They don't accept the price of their own happiness. So they lie to themselves, they make excuses. But I ask you this, what is the alternative? To have everyone talking about how great you are while you feel miserable all the time, being depressed like now, except for the rest of your life, is that an option for you? I'll tell you this, you won't be with others all the time because they have their own goals, but you will be with yourself every single day until you die. So your only option becomes to be happy. And that means accepting any challenges that come with it. That is what it means when people say happiness is about the journey, not the destination. It's about the kind of person you are to yourself, the person you deserve and need in your life, the person you owe it to yourself to become. Accepting doesn't mean giving up, but showing yourself limits, structure, a path, a light in the dark. And this stops your mind from being so anxious and lost about where to go, where you stop being so depressed. And for the first time in your life, take a step by yourself, for yourself, without being distracted from the outside world. Your choice. And in here we close the first part of the guide, How to Fix Depression in 34 Steps, and move on to the next one, which is to rebuild your life, not by what you were taught, how you should be, where you should go and do, but by what you chose for yourself to make your words a reality, and with it, your happiness. To make you a new house to live in where depression doesn't exist. Your new life. I will see you next week.